But still, if I had to shave every day on my neck, it looks like a crime scene. Like, forget about it. It's
okay.
So,
okay. So
we were playing.
I gave you that 10 skin stuff, didn't I? For that, the 10 skin.
Yeah, the 10 skin's good. Yeah, that's good after the fact. Yeah, that's a nice.
Yeah. Oh, but you do a pre-oil.
I do a pre-oil, the Shave Secret. So I don't even use shaving cream anymore. I only use this oil, and it's changed my life.
Okay.
But even so, if
great.
I had to go every day, forget it. So like I can only go like twice a week, 3 times a week max, and then it's still dicey. But so we were playing the Colts, and there is I guess a very famous old-fashioned barber shop in Indianapolis. It's actually right over there by that Chipotle that we walked to or I ran to. I remember in the rain one time I sprinted to Chipotle and back in the rain.
Yeah.
So it's over in that part of downtown Indy, and this is a few years ago now. This is back in 16 maybe, I want to say. And so we were going, and they were like, we got to go to this place before we go to dinner. So we went, and so there are a couple of things about it. Number one, the hot towel and that all feels great.
Oh,
that part of it it's luxurious. It feels great. Then you get to the blade part of it, and you really hear it happening. It's actually a very loud experience, I found.
Okay.
In terms of hearing the hair and your skin and all of this. What I will say though is we've come so far with our technology, with the moisture strips and the way that the blades can bend and all of that, so that in these inner regions of your neck, you're able to get a close shave, but it's also able to be guarded and fairly safe. With this, I think if my skin were calloused and hardened, perhaps it'd be fine. But I came out of that thing, my face felt like it was on fire because I feel like it's such a straight razor that I think it takes like the top layer of your skin with the hair.
Some skin, sure.
Yeah. But in here, I mean, it looked a crime scene. I mean, it looked like I had been assaulted and was like dripping and oozing blood everywhere. So while the initial pampering was great for me, now other people complained of facial soreness as well and extreme sensitivity because it was many of our maiden voyage.
At this particular place, this is where this experience was?
Yes, we were all in the same spot. But the one
so this was your one experience.
The one guy that was with us that has done this a lot had none of the same issues. So now it could be he had a different artisan, Now it also could be the nature of it felt like something that your body needed to build
new blades, maybe
an immunity to.
Maybe a new blade on.
Felt like
on
you
his?
needed some experience with it, to callus up a little bit. Gibbe, yes.
So when we landed in Indy, I go to the stadium and set up. We're getting ready for game day, so we're loading in with the equipment guys. So Zegura had said, "I'm going." May or may not have been a few luminaries that went on this little trip.
Sure. Of course.
So we show up at the hotel a couple hours later. I walk in, and it looked like a MASH field operation around 5 guys' necks.
God.
Yeah, it was not cool, man.
I am not kidding. I was like, what did you do?
It was like Hamburger Hill. Remember that movie?
Just dabs of Kleenex.
God.
It was, guys were not in a good place, and I just laughed.
No, I felt like.
That's incredible.
I felt like my face was raw and oozing blood and pus and pain.
God, what a shame.
It's a ringing endorsement for this. But I will say this. There were many other people in this establishment, especially people who went to the same person that I did before me and after me, who were thrilled, who had but it was their reg. It was the reg. That's how they did it, and their body built up a ton. It'd be like the first time you ever shaved your face in general. It takes, you got to get used to it.
Man, I'm wondering what would be, if you did that on the reg, what would it be? Like if you regularly got straight edge shaves by a barber, would it be twice a week?
Probably.
Do you need it as often?
I think you would still. Like if you're somebody who wanted to be clean every day, I still think you'd have to be in there at least every other day. It's not cheap either.
When I was in the TV and had to be on the TV all the time, I would shave every day. And that's part of the reason I don't anymore, quite frankly. is because I had to for so long. I had to shave every day for so long that now I'm like, you know what? I feel like I've done my time on it. But in doing so, I just wondered, like, do you get a deeper shave with the straight edge that wouldn't require you to do it every day?
I think it's possible because, like I said, I believe that there was part of my epidermis that was taken as well.
Epidermis came off. Good grief. Okay, well, there you go. There you go. I do love a barber, though. I love a barber. The boys don't love a barber. They don't love it at all, but I enjoy it a great deal.
I got Bill's Barber Shop in Homestead Falls. My guys Nick and Jason. They're the best.
I've been
I'm
my
sure
own
they're
barber
fantastic.
for many years. Decades.
That's the beauty of your lifestyle choice. I mean, that's an incredible job out of you to just be to. You have to be as handsome as you to pull that off, though. I don't have that in me. I do not have that in me. I can't do it. There's no way that I can do it. I cannot do it. The boys can't do it. I could zip them up. That wouldn't last long at all. Yeah, it's the length. I'll tell you. We'll sum up the barber conversation with this because somehow this just jumped into my head. I had a buddy in high school who, on the reg, would go get a haircut like during lunch, and then come back to school and then go to practice. And I don't understand how you can post haircut not shower.
You have
like
to.
The itch. Of course. Like the man would. I just remember we would look. His name was John Prof. I would look at John. What are you doing? How is that? How are you walking around like that? How are you not showering after a haircut? And he would do it. It was incredible. It was an incredible effort at him.
Outrageous.
Yeah, he was a real stalwart. Let's get into the OBM hot topics. Go ahead.
The only flaw with my current style is, well, people could have many that they want to poke, but as a person who I'm happy with what's happening up here, but because I don't have the barber to mind my neck, it falls on my wife, who gives a great effort, but I have to like corral her and be like, hey, get this neck for a second. Help me out. Because I can't do it myself.
Yeah, that's
true. I'm like over here, I'd be flying blind.
You can do a reach. It's
but you can't be precise holding a mirror in front of the mirror and a reach.
There's no
No,
you're not going to do a nice fade on that.
Precision and some shaping.
Yeah. Well, that is true. That is the one drawback. As we get into the OBM hot topics, Ohio Business Machine preferred copy provider of your Cleveland Browns. For all the X's and O's for your office, call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. There's no NFL news. There's nothing.
Great.
There's nothing.
Good. Sammy Watkins officially to the Ravens. He'll catch 5 passes.
Great. Fantastic. Good for him. The Falcons will be the team in London. I actually got this from Paul Brown, our London bureau chief, yesterday, that this was happening. A little bit of heads up out of Paul. It's a good job out of him. That the Falcons will be heading to London in 2021. As someone who was covered games there, and this to me seemed, and you correct me if I'm wrong, this seems further away now than ever. There was a time a couple of years ago when Shad Khan was going to buy Wembley.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? They're the London Jaguars.
Sure.
Yep. That's it. And it would make sense. The Jaguar brand very popular over there. It'd be an easy sell. He owns, I think, Fulham. The soccer team over there, so there's a lot of synergy there, and I thought, boy, that's something that's going to happen in the next 5 or 6 years, and you'll just deal with the logistics, and it'll be tough. But if they go play on the West Coast, maybe they stay out there for 2 weeks, those type of things. Now it seems further away than ever for a very, very long time. We've been playing in London since the mid '80s. I remember a Sports Illustrated cover of like the '85 Bears going over there with Jim McMahon next to one of those guys who guards Buckingham Palace on the cover of it. I mean, it's been a long time. Is it working still? Is it? Do they crave a team? Is it on the horizon? Is there a team going over there on the horizon permanently?
I don't think that's on the horizon, but I think they crave a few games, and we'll give them a few games, and I think that's why one of the reasons that the NFL's talking about Germany and Brazil's the fastest growing market in the world for consumption of the National Football League. So I don't think it's any surprise, and that's. By the way, my mom wanted me to let you know 2 things. Number one, you are indeed correct, as nobody doubted whatsoever, that St. Louis is closer to the equator than Cincinnati. But she also, the other day before you're back, we were talking about these international games. I said, boy, I would love to go to Brazil. That's been on my bucket list. I want to go to Brazil.
Jeez.
And I wasn't
Rio?
sure, though.
Copacabana Beach?
Oh, my God. Stop it.
Come
One of my favorite movies
I'm
as a
coming
kid.
back. It's been real.
One of my favorite movies as a kid was called Emerald
I'll
Forest.
see you on down the road.
It was about the Amazon
Which
River. So I've
one?
always wanted to go to the Amazon River. I've always wanted to see that, check it all
Oh.
out, the whole.
There's other things I want to see
Well,
there.
sure,
You
of
can
course.
enjoy the forest. I'll stay at Copacabana Beach.
Yes, of course.
Enjoy myself.
Of course, yes.
Drink it up.
Live, drink from the hose of life down
Yeah.
there is what we would do. So I wanted to go there, but it's actually significantly farther of a flight to Rio than it is to London or even to Germany and to Munich.
Has your mom just become the official geography correspondent of this program?
I believe she has.
And also ombudsman?
She digests the first 20 minutes of the program, and it brings her a great deal of joy, which she shares to me. She brings up all the time though, like, I just want to tell Beau to stop being mean to my baby boy and to follow him on Twitter. And I said, Mom, do you get it? Like, do you get what's going on here? Do you get it?
You don't get the show,
you don't
Mom.
get it. No. So then she's telling my kids about when she was a teacher and she's into the Patty Hearst being kidnapped. She's telling them all this stuff, and she drops in.
Gosh.
And my mom, for an educator, at times has her challenges with the English language, but she often says, I'll give you a perfect example. She communicates effectively, but she doesn't always necessarily say the right thing. Like, if you're listening more often than not, you know what she was trying to say. For example, when I was a kid, I wanted to go see White Men Can't Jump at the movie theater. This is a true story. We walk up and my mom asked for me and my dad asked for 3 tickets to White Boys Can't Dance. Like, these are the type of things that we're dealing with. So last night she's telling the story to my
All true.
She's telling the story to my telling this not me for my
Not for you.
not on my resume for my wedding party.
Not your
hopping.
side business.
Right, side biz. So last night she's telling about how you have Patty Hearst and going through all this crazy stuff that happened in the Bay Area and how they made these food donations, but they weren't. And Arden's like, well, then why were they so bad if they're making people give food? And she's like, well, then they were, robbing banks with submarine guns. That's what she called them, submarine guns.
Submarine.
Not and Arden and Bryce, who both play Fortnite. Do you mean submachine guns? Yeah, submarine guns. So we had a nice time with that. Some submarine guns. Yeah, watch out for those.
Oh.
They'll get you.
Those are dicey. Those are dicey. The hard thing for and look, this is on the NFL side of things. The good news is that the league has never been more powerful, more wealthy, more popular, and all of those things. If you're looking for kind of a tough, it's not tough's not the right word, but I do think that there is a ceiling for the growth of the league. Whereas I think I understand the NBA's infatuation with the Far East, for example. Like, I don't know if the NFL is ever going to be something that takes place and thrives in certain parts of the world. Where the NBA, you think about emerging markets in Africa and in the Far East for the NBA, those don't really exist, and I don't know that they're capable of existing. You mentioned Brazil, certainly Germany. Germany was Frankfurt. It was always very popular in the World League. There's always been a big following, in Germany with with what they would call American football. But in terms of another league sprouting up again in Europe or wherever, it's not in the cards. The world's never been smaller. You can watch all these games wherever you are.
Yep.
God knows we get great supporters everywhere, a great Australian contingent, all of that. But just from the perspective of the NFL expanding beyond its footprint, it's to me it seems almost impossible. And London's the most likely, and that's still tough.
Right. It just logistically, as you pointed out, the hardships of it don't make a lot. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But you'll do, and you'll have the games here or there, and I think that's what people like. I got it from Dearness. He said, we don't need a team here. He's a Londoner. He said, we have all our teams now. Wouldn't change who we support. We just like to see games. The Browns game weekend was fantastic, despite the game, of course.
Yeah, you don't need to. It's the same thing that's happened here with and obviously the MLS is really well supported and all of that in the States now. But I mean, you can now be fans of any European club team you want,
of course,
in soccer and watch them, and they're on, and it's an absolute win on that front. It is Easter weekend, of course. I'll throw this to both of you. I'll propose this to both of you. From a candy perspective, is Easter greater than Halloween? From the standpoint of, with Easter candy, there's actually candy you can't get any other time of year.
So I'm not a
The
candy.
Halloween candy you can get anytime.
Sure.
I'm not either. But when I was a kid, it's possible I slept on Easter because there are unique candies specifically for Easter. You think about Peeps, Cadbury eggs, those type of things. And again, I never liked any of those as a kid anyway. But those things do not exist in Halloween.
Halloween's got candy corn, which I am still a fan of to this day. However, the Cadbury cream egg to me was probably because so you take a Snickers or you take a Butterfinger or a Reese's Pieces, take all the things that are year-round out of there.
Right.
In terms of just a time-specific candy, there's no question Cadbury cream egg as a young child was my favorite of all the one-off candies by far. Second might as well have been ninth, as I like to say.
It's ninth, as you like to say.
Not even eighth.
Okay.
Just right.
What do you think, Gibby? Not even eighth anymore.
No,
It's ninth.
Ninth now. Oh boy, an on-air light would have been real helpful for him.
Better?
Would have been helpful if he had
Would've
that.
saved you.
If he had that.
I knew it. I was like, man, I don't remember when I
hitting it.
did it. I don't remember what I did. I don't remember.
That's why the light's so helpful now. I haven't had one mess up since the light.
Hey, you almost did.
It's true.
I had a
You
faux tap.
recovered.
I had a
You
faux tap.
recovered quickly.
I went to tap, and I'm like, I don't need to tap
I
anymore.
give you your props. You recovered, which
What
is
does it say
nice.
right
It's
there?
nice not to hear you bang the microphone 40 times a day.
Well, thank Jade. Don't thank you.
No one needs to thank me for anything. I've done nothing. And I will continue to do nothing.
You said it, pal.
That's an absolute great. Put that on the quote board.
Yeah, there you go.
I've done nothing.
I would agree. I think Easter blows away Halloween. That is a great
Easter.
That is a great little a great little nugget. And now see, I'm not
I think
diehard chocolate guy. Like I do like a little chocolate, but I'm not like
Oh, you go candy?
the solid chocolate, heavy duty. Not that guy.
No.
I'm a Skittles. I'm a Starburst. Little spree
Those are
action.
year round though. That's a year
Gummy
round. but
bears
sure.
are my favorite.
Do you eat how do you eat a gummy bear?
Just depends. Like every year for my birthday, my one godson gets me a 5-pound bag of Haribo. I share them with nobody. I eat them.
I know, but do you have a particular method to eating each individual
I will bite the
bear?
heads off
Yeah,
on
of course,
occasion
same.
and just kind of
Got to.
dissect.
All
yeah.
the flavors in the head. Everybody knows it.
You know
Bite
what's
the
great?
heads off.
You take
Got
the
to.
gummy
I've never
bears.
thought of
Like
it that way.
you take the gummy bears and you put them in a bottle. Put them at the bottom of a bottle of vodka. Let them soak up.
Oh,
Will change your life, baby.
I remember.
If there was one
Of
person,
course you'd have a
if there's
cheat code for that.
one person on the planet that you could bet on taking a candy discussion and have it ending in a booze discussion, it would be Gibby.
Yeah, you take like
There's
all
no
the
question.
you take all the green ones. You buy a bunch of green ones.
Sure.
You put them in a bottle of
Oh,
vodka
yeah.
at the bottom.
Uh-huh.
You
Soak
say
them in.
green ones?
Yeah.
Sure.
What about the whites?
You could do whites. You could do reds.
I think the whites are the best gummy bear.
No, the reds.
The clear.
The reds.
Is that a cherry? Is the white cherry? What
No,
flavor is the
I
white?
think it's
or is it
pineapple.
pineapple?
That's pineapple. It's tropical.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I
All
love.
right.
I love.
Well,
I love.
we
it.
got
I
things
love
sorted
candy.
out there.
I'm not. I'm like not diehard sweet guy, but like I do love candy.
So you're talking like nerds, Skittles, gummy bear, like that world, like the fruity, soury.
Yeah, more so
candy.
than the chocolate.
Straight
stuff.
candy. Okay. All right. Very good. Well, as you can see, we got a lot to get to on the program today. We've got some rankings of the best player ever taken at number 26. Have a little fun with the free agent wide receiver class. Austin Ward, good buddy with Letterman Rowe, he will join us at 2:00 on the Buckeye class being graduated into the NFL. Who could possibly be a fit for us here with the Browns? You have all of that to look forward to, which is very, very nice. Off and running on a Friday edition. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Winter weather was devastating on your home. Means it's time for you to call the pros. My friends at Perfect Power Wash, dirt, mold, and algae. They accumulated on the exterior of your home and they lead to costly damages. PPW's safe process, professional technicians will help remove these contaminants to keep your house looking protected. Call the pros today. 888-860-WASH. You can save 10% using the promo code BEAU. Take advantage of this priority scheduling. The whole process couldn't be easier, guys. One call does it all. The professionals at PPW will provide you a free quote. They'll schedule your service. If you want a perfectly clean home this spring, call the pros at 888-860-WASH. That's 888-860-WASH, or visit perfectpowerwash.com. And remember, the early bird gets the savings here. Call 888-860-WASH today. Use the promo code BEAU to save 10%. Call them like I did. They will take care of you. All right, this is fun. CBS Sports ranked the best players ever drafted at number 26, which is where we will be picking. The first thing that jumps out to me on this list is it's tough to find a superstar at 26, because you'd think in the history of the draft that there would be more than there are.
Well,
and there's some really good players, but there are. It's not like there's 30 of them. Number one, of course, being Ray Lewis.
That's because, look, they weren't drafted by Andrew Barry. That's what I have to say about
That's right.
that. You get AB in there, and all bets are off. We can find a star. But I think, look, Ray Lewis, as you mentioned, you find a Ray Lewis. I don't think you're too unhappy about that. That would be a pretty good thing. A pretty good thing. By the way, I do think Gibby. I think our internet is wonky. I think it is. It's wonky right now. My email's wonky. I'm trying to pull this up. It's all
okay. We should just
that's
go
what
home.
I was thinking.
Call today. Let's go to
Call
the bar.
it a day.
Let's go. Gibby, just get.
He's available. I'll bring him.
Do you have you know how Beau, and now because of Beau, I do as well. We do our the bourbon apple pie every holiday season.
Yep.
Do you have a gummy bear vodka going every Easter season? Do you have one currently brewing at the Gibbe household?
No, we're not. We're going out to brunch. I'm not doing anything.
That's what I think. That's Easter. Easter's brunch.
Yeah, I'm going. We're doing a brunch. We're not hosting, thank goodness. We're doing our own thing, in and out, and I'm hopefully going to be on a golf course at 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon.
There you go.
Oh, I like that. If you're going to have if you're going to do a brunch, what is give me one item that has to be on that brunch to make you feel good about what is probably a $28 minimum per person expense. What's one thing that is a minimum to say, okay, I feel good about this?
Prime rib.
I think that's a correct answer. I think you could go crab legs. I think you could.
Those were my two answers. Together is when I know I've arrived. That's when we're in brunch nirvana. That's the pair.
Yes. What do you think, Gibby?
I don't know. I gotta something.
I mean, you're going to be charged $28 or more, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the big time seafood options. I think that's
you can't run out like an omelet station and like a pancake station or whatever, the bacon and all of that. That's a minimum requirement in order for it to.
That's a $20 buffet.
$14.99, honestly.
Yeah.
If you're talking in that area which is what I think most brunch feels like they can charge. Most brunch feels like it can charge $28.99 or up. If that is the case, then those two items, one of them has to be there, and both should be, frankly.
Agreed. I also, I feel like a lot of brunches have gone to sushi, a little sushi station as well, which I haven't
seen that yet.
I'm not afraid of that. You know what? It's been a long time since I've been to it, but Pier W, pre-pandemic,
amazing.
Pier W does, I think, maybe the best brunch in town, and it's spectacular. They've got a sushi station for sure. 100%.
Yeah, I'll wait for that over the omelet station. I think the omelet stations in general are just a waste of time. I'm there to eat. If I'm just standing there waiting while one guy cooks 20 different omelets, I'm not into that.
Well,
give me something I can dump on my plate and pop
This
in.
is a valid complaint. I won't pretend this isn't a valid complaint. If you're going to have an omelet station, you got to have enough cooks to be able to operate it so that no one's standing around too damn long. I mean, the way that you got to operate that is you get the omelet going. That's the first place you go, and then you go and get your other accoutrements, and then you come back to the omelet and scoop it up after you're done.
Right.
That's course one.
That's why you make
that would be the way to handle it.
$8.05 an hour.
That's right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. One of the great brunches I've had too, though, was at the place we go to in Mexico, Puerto Vallarta. They've got at their golf course on the weekends. They have at their restaurant there a big brunch, and it is, I mean, fresh made tortillas and all the taco meats you could want, all the different things. So it's kind of got taco bars and enchilada bars and all of this.
Sure.
All kinds of great stuff. Plus the good tropical fruits. It's a real delight. It's a treat.
Any place around water is going to have some tremendous advantages. I mean, you're in a brunch situation in California in the Pacific, you're going to be looking at some good brunch operations there. The Caribbean will take care of you on that front as well. Because it's the seafood aspect of it that's pretty good. Alan Faneca was number 2 on this list of the 26th, the best players. He's a Hawk. He's got a gold jacket.
Yeah,
gold jacket. Joe D on the list at number 3.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. Clay Matthews 4. And Dave Brown. Those are the 5 at number 26 on this on your list here. I like that. All right, let me ask you this, Z. I had one other thing I want to get to you. If you could,
I should say,
go ahead.
I hope that whoever we pick is in contention for at least 5th on this list. I mean, the top 4 is pretty good. Five's wide open.
It starts to get pretty wide open
5's
after
wide
that.
open.
When you think about that, yeah. And Clay Matthews was really good. I think it's been funny to watch the mocks that have come through with the differing opinion on what we're going to do at 26. It seems like it takes about a week and a half for the mocks to catch up with kind of the reality. Is that fair?
I think that is fair. As you're starting to see, the Zaven Collins, which was 100% of mocks early on, moved down, obviously, and kind of they're moving off of that to more the edge corner, which I think we all think makes the most sense. I still don't know that we're seeing as many corner. It seems to be now we've moved kind of strictly to the edge rusher way from people.
Right. Yeah, it is that way. What happened?
Gibbe. This is why, remember,
Hold on. No.
Hold on.
My mic is down.
No, I'm not so sure.
So
I'm not so sure it was.
No.
I heard you in my ears.
Yes, and there's a reason for that.
Okay.
Because of the way this studio is wired, if the microphone is not off, everybody can still hear one another. It's not going out over the air. So I just potted it down. I coughed, and you heard it. Because Beau didn't hear it.
Now, that's valid. I did not.
Only Zegura heard it.
Listen, it's a good thing I'm a pro. It's a good thing I'm a pro, and I went
good thing you're a pro and just interrupted the entire segment.
I went right through it.
Well, this was going so many places anyway. Hey, let me ask you this.
This was a.
That's why it's the 3 button on-off cough.
Award-winning.
You could have coughed it.
Give it. Question, just from the peanut gallery. When you designed and built this studio yourself with your own brawn and with your own bare hands, do you now look back in retrospect and go, there's certain things that I would have liked to have done differently, or are you still just a Clydesdale defending your build that you built by yourself?
I'm fairly confident I'm on page 7 or 8 in terms of the things that need to be redone. And the studio's about a year and a half old.
So you've admitted the mistakes that you made in building it. It was your design. Of course, it was executed in your build with your own hands that built it. Go ahead, Z.
In the words of Alanis Morissette, you live, you learn. Gibbe. Walking proof of that.
Well, there's another line from Alanis Morissette. Try recreating that.
No. Oh, gosh. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous every time we go down. I don't know what's going to be said.
What is this? You leave Dave Coulier
all right,
out of
lots.
this.
I don't even know what we're doing. Bucky Brooks, we got his top 5 draftees at each position coming up. Austin Ward at the top of the next hour. Z goes one-on-one with Chris Kiffin. You'll have that to look forward to. That'll be nice.
It is,
you'll have that to look forward
nice.
to in the second hour of the program. We've had a lot of receivers move around this year. We'll have a little fun with that coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily here on a Friday edition of the program. Bo here for my great friends at Weather Seal Home Services. Need a roof replacement? Would you like to replace your roof for the final time? I know that you would. That's the benefit of choosing metal roof technology from Weather Seal. Metal roof technology, materials and styles, colors, they've improved significantly. They are beautiful, nearly indestructible, and affordable, especially at Weather Seal. Plus, with new metal roof technology, Weather Seal includes a 6-inch gutter upgrade and up to 7 years, 0-interest financing. Give my guys a call today, 877-351-SEAL, or visit WeatherSealHomeservices.com, 877-351-SEAL, or WeatherSealHomeservices.com. Give me this one coming into you from Eric. How long should I let the gummy bears soak?
I mean, it's like a hairy buffalo. You know, if you let them go overnight, you know, you're good by morning.
Okay. All right. Little overnight soak on those gummies.
Why are you two looking at me like that?
I just
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't even.
Have you
I don't know what a hairy buffalo is, and
party?
I'm fearful.
I've been to
the
restaurant.
No.
Establishment.
I'm familiar with the restaurant. I'm not. I don't know what that is. I don't know.
What is it? So what is this? Are you allowed to even say?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Like, have you never cut a hole in a watermelon and put a bottle of alcohol in, let it soak into the fruit?
I mean,
like pour it into the fruit, right?
Yeah.
Not just
Yeah,
right.
but
pour it in.
You can also have a giant tub and pour a bunch of alcohol in and then cut up fruit, put it in.
Yeah, that's called trash can punch.
No, that's called a hairy buffalo.
I'm pretty sure that's called trash can punch.
No, I think you're wrong.
I think we had a name for it too.
That was
a
staple.
Trash thing.
That was a staple of my fraternity parties in college. Trash can punch.
Yeah.
Just fill up a trash can, fruits, stuff, booze.
Lots of booze.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah,
this
you can just let it
Zegura,
soak overnight. Like 12 hours, you're good. You're solid.
Let it marinate.
Then you eat the gummies. Delightful.
Real quick, Josh weighs in on Easter brunch musts. His power rankings are prime rib number 1, which the king of meats.
Yep.
Number 2, roast of lamb.
I think you said leg of lamb, right?
Au gratin potatoes 3.
Nah.
Leg of lamb, sure. Au gratin potatoes 3, which I could do without. Number 4, crab cake Benedict or Creole Hollandaise. I don't know that I don't particularly like crab with eggs. I don't like I don't like that, but I think an eggs Benedict is nice with a nice ham. I think that's a win, and I like the crab independently. And then he likes the champagne. I can't do the champagne. I can't stand mimosas. I don't like champagne in general. So
I'm not much of a champagne guy either. No.
Cannonball coming.
Cannonball. Gibby, I'm just curious, what makes the buffalo hairy when the watermelon is a hairless fruit? It's not like it's in a coconut.
I think you're overthinking it, number one.
Sorry.
The purpose of the hairy buffalo party is not to contemplate why it's called a hairy buffalo party.
Yeah.
The purpose is to consume, and we'll leave it at that.
Consume, yeah.
Yeah, I like that name too.
I think it's really, people know what they're getting with that.
Yeah.
With the hairy buffalo, I'm not sure what I'm getting.
I was nervous when you said it.
You were quite
Frankly,
nervous.
I was nervous.
That's right.
I love both of you tensing
I
up. I should have taken a photo right here.
Oh, God, where could this go? Could go in any number of ways.
That's right.
Gibby, this is from our good buddy Nate Burleson on Good Morning Football this morning. With the following wide receivers post greater, similar, or lesser production with his new team in 2021 than he did in his previous club in 2020. Your candidates, Z, for consideration: Corey Davis with the Jets, Kenny Golladay with the Giants, A.J. Green with the Cardinals, Deshaun Jackson with the he's Rams, isn't he?
Yes,
Rams.
formerly.
Sammy Watkins with the Ravens. There you go. Sammy Watkins with the Ravens, Nelson Aguilar of the Patriots, Curtis Samuel with Washington, Will Fuller with Miami, or Marvin Jones with Jacksonville. Who do you think of those guys has the best year compared to the year they had last year, Z?
Compared to the year that they had last year, that makes it a little tough because the guys that I like the most, I mean, the easy answer, right, is Golladay because Golladay didn't finish the season. He was injured, wasn't he? So Galladay's going to have a significantly better season there. But Corey Davis is probably the one that jumps out to me in that I think he's going to have an opportunity to really flourish as a number one receiver. But he still had 65, 984, and 5. You know, how much upside does he necessarily have on that? That I don't know. But the fact that he thinks Sammy Watkins is going to have 60 catches for 800 yards and 7 touchdowns and have the biggest season that he's had in the last 4 years,
Boy.
That's a pretty surprising one to me.
I think the two that had the chance to make the biggest impact I think Deshaun Jackson, his numbers won't be extraordinary, but that will open up a lot for the Rams with his ability to get deep and Stafford's ability and his arm.
Agreed.
That will open up a lot. I don't know if he's going to have a ton of yards or a ton of catches, but I'm guessing his yards per catch are great if he can stay healthy, and I bet he hits a couple of home runs. I bet he has a couple of I could see him having a couple 4 catches, 138, 2 touchdown games with the Rams next year. Go ahead, Z.
I think Curtis Samuel's being slept on for what he's going to bring as now the clear number 2. Not to say that he wasn't, but they also had DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, who put up some big numbers, and Samuel. Now it's going to be McLaurin and Samuel.
Yep.
They got Logan Thomas at tight end, which tremendous transition from quarterback by Logan Thomas. Kudos to him. But with Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think he's going to have some big, big numbers. And so does Nate. He's got him at 100 total touches, 1,300 total yards, and 11 total touchdowns. That's pretty good. I want you to know, Beau, in fairness to us and in fairness to Gibby, this is one of those rare win-wins because I've gotten blown up on Twitter, and that is that Harry Buffalo that's just what it's called in Ohio. Everybody's talking about that's the Ohio term for trash can punch. So it's the fact that you and I did not grow up here, nor did we go to college here, is why we don't get it. So we're all speaking the same language but different. And I love this.
So we're getting a lot of I'm starting to see this now.
I like
go ahead.
Mag08T says, as much as I enjoy a good bashing of Gibba, all the things he's talking about from Gummy Soak to Harry Buffalo are well known on the BGSU side of the state.
There you go, baby.
Great triumph for you, Gibbe. Somebody goes, back in my Ohio college days, it was called a Harry Buffalo. We didn't ask why. We just consumed. And that's right from the Gibby ethos right there. Don't question it. Just drink it.
Yeah. You want to give me a cup of
Is
fruit?
that your burner?
How long's this been soaking?
Is NEO Sportswagon your burner? Is that at Gibbe?
No.
How many burners does Gibby have? He operates like 6 Twitter accounts.
Crazy. It's amazing.
I do. Don't look for a BPA one later today.
BPA tweet. That's fantastic. Absolutely great. If I could take one of these guys and say and undo where they landed, it'd be Will Fuller. I think Will Fuller with the Dolphins, I just think, why? Like, he could have been a real impact guy in Green Bay. I don't know if that was even possible or doable or whatever. But, like, if he would have ended there, like, that changes some things in the league. Him going to Miami, there's such a limited ceiling to that, in my view. I just don't think that they're going to be able to get the best out of him with Tua.
We could be in line. The last time that you and I were down on, not necessarily down on something, but did not think that they could be what they became, is Josh Allen. So Tua's either going to be what we thought he was, or he's going to be our next Josh Allen. I don't think he's going to be the next Josh Allen. I still think he could be a nice quarterback. I never thought he was like trash, but again, the fact that your coach thought he needed to put Ryan Fitzmagic in to come out of the bullpen in important moments says something to me.
Yes, it says something to me as well. This from Bucky Brooks. Top 5 2021 NFL draft prospects by position. And it's interesting with all of the conversation. We'll have Austin Ward on here at the top of the hour. With all the conversation of the quarterback position, he has Justin Fields number 2 behind Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, Zach Wilson 3, Trey Lance 4, Mac Jones 5. He did this for every position. And obviously there are some positions of great interest for us. I love that Bucky does this. So let's just go to the positions of interest for us. And honestly, as much as we like speed at receiver, the only one of his top 5 that may have a chance at being there, I think, for us is Rashad Bateman, who's a guy I've mentioned before just because of the unique traits he possesses.
Maybe
it'd be hard
Tony.
to pass
Sure.
him up, I think, perhaps, could be. But mostly you're going to be on the defensive side,
Yes.
and so we're talking about corners, and we're talking about defense. We're talking about, really anybody who's dynamic on the defensive side of the ball. For example, Jalen Phillips mocked to us, I believe today on one of the ones I saw, he has him as his number 1 edge guy. There seems to be a pretty good discrepancy on the end guys in evaluating these for these various rankers.
There are, and I would say after the pro days, though, Jalen Phillips has gone up, which, again, the tape should be the tape, but people really, really like Jalen Phillips. Says, and his quote is, Phillips shook up the scouting community with his exceptional pro day performance. As a technician with outstanding hand skills, he mixes power with finesse to keep blockers off balance. Then there's Kwity Paye. And then there's Rousseau. He said he's still a work in progress, but his flashes will encourage teams to gamble on his upside as a disruptive edge defender. He has the most variance. Carlos Basham's not a name that we've heard a ton about, but you're starting to see more of him in that end of the first round area. I will say that I'm sad that I don't see the guy in the defensive tackle section in his top 5 defensive tackles. I don't know if you remember when S was touting a Buckeye product and saying that he should be taken in the first round, and he's not even listed as in Bucky Brooks' top 5 defensive tackles.
Tommy Togiai.
Yeah.
S's boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disappointing
absolutely.
on the bench
no,
press.
not on there.
Right? He was expecting to do like 975 reps, and he only did like 40 something.
Needed more, apparently.
Outrageous.
Austin Ward. We'll ask Austin Ward about Tommy Togiai as he joins us here at the top of the hour, coming off of Ohio State Pro Day. Certainly, it's hard to imagine us going linebacker at one, unless some sort of, if Owusu Koromoa dropped or something, and he was just such an incredible athlete that he dropped, and he had such traits that you had to take him. Zaven Collins is number 1 outside linebacker. Ojulari, of course, at Georgia. We've talked about him quite a bit. Baron Browning, we'll ask Austin about him because Baron is a guy who has incredible physical talents from Ohio State. He had him 5th. At corner, Patrick Surtain is number 1. J.C. Horn is number 2. Caleb Farley is number 3 out of Virginia Tech. And then Asante Samuel Jr. out of Florida State is 4. Elijah Molden is number 5 on that list.
And what's interesting there is the name that's not there is Greg Newsome out of Northwestern, who has been, in the top 4 for most people, but not for Bucky. Asante Samuel Jr., the Florida State product, obviously good lineage with his father being in the league. It says his instincts and ball hawking skills can make him a dominant corner, particularly as a nickel defender in the slot. Molden can be inside or outside. Farley, I think Farley is going to be – Farley and Horn are studs, and you'll wonder if the Browns get lucky. The guy like Farley, because of this back injury, ends up falling, as he's done in some of these mocks, all the way down to him.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be the case. It's interesting to see Patrick Surtain the second and Asante Samuel Jr. both on this.
Wild?
And you remember, of course, their dads.
That's wild. Yeah. Patrick Surtain was really good. So was Asante Samuel. But I remember Patrick Surtain, I want to say, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, was it Surtain and Sam Madison were the corners for the Dolphins?
Yeah. Yep. I believe that was it. Yeah, Sam Madison. Yeah, I think that's the way that went there. Go ahead, Gibby.
On Twitter, from Ballistic. Okay. Well, I'm not going to go down the road with that Twitter handle. That reeks of a poor decision. Turkey, ham, or ribs marinated with a vintage wine sauce, 3 cheese macaroni, dressing, greens, potato salad, cranberry sauce, cornbread. And then he says, Zaven Collins, the next Khalil Mack. Let us not pass on a great player just because.
I'm not sure that's exactly what it says, but
okay. So
it's in line with what it says.
Yeah, I cleaned it.
Let's just say this. What he described, the meal he described it's like a summer lunch.
Sounds like a barbecue.
Or early
it's a nice
dinner.
Little southern
Sounds
menu.
like
a barbecue. Yeah.
Yeah, sitting on picnic benches.
Right. That's not a brunch.
No.
Correct. Yeah, that's a picnic bench lunch or
like
early
the
dinner in the summer.
Though,
or fall even.
Of the ribs marinated with a vintage wine sauce. That sounds good.
Yeah, that does sound good. I don't have a problem with that, but I think what he described was not brunch, is the way that I would describe that. So, the thing on Zaven Collins, and it's not like we're down on him. We're not. He has elite. And by the way, what we said, elite traits.
Yep.
He has elite traits. There's no question. So it could be something where, regardless of fit, let's draft him. Let's sort it out. He's that high on our board.
Sure.
And he's that much of a game changer. We'll figure it out. It's interesting. Football is becoming more and more, and I've heard this from Ohio State as well. It's becoming that what they're trying to do with defense this spring is almost positionless.
Yep.
That, try to have 7 guys out there who can tackle and cover, because there's, that's kind of the way that it's going. defensive side of the ball, so we'll see. And we'll ask Oscar Ward about all those things. Before we do that, though, are you on the injured list? We can help get you back in the game. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk & Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll go inside Ohio State Pro Day with our buddy Austin Ward of Letterman Row. He will join us coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Obsessing over something like football can be a problem. If you're obsessing over gambling, it can be dangerous. So do something to take your mind off it. If you want some tips on what that could be, go to keepitfunohio.com for great ways to keep gambling fun. Beau Bishop, Nathan Zegura with you here. Cleveland Browns Daily, final hour of the program on a Friday edition. Let's head out and visit with our good buddy Austin Ward of Letterman Row joining us. Of course, covers the Buckeyes for Letterman Row. And Austin, we've got a lot of questions about some of the lower tier guys who could fall to us and could be good fits for us, certainly on the defensive side of the ball. But I do want to start with one of the things that has been the topic really in the NFL this week has been the Justin Fields stuff that has been out there back and forth. The reality on it, and I guess maybe the best way to do this is someone who covered him for 2 years, it would be to ask you this. The same question that got Dan Orlovsky into trouble. Justin Fields went into his freshman year as the number 2 quarterback. He went into this year as the number 2 quarterback. What changed?
Nothing. In fact, I mean, there's a lot of things he's done, Beau, that give him a claim to be number 1. You know, I don't think that there's any way that Urban Meyer's going to do that. In fact, I'd say going back to like November when he was doing shows with us at Letterman Row at his pint house, it was always assumed that there was no indecision, that Trevor Lawrence was the guy. That's fine. But when you watch Justin Fields play him head-to-head, when you watch in the Sugar Bowl, when you talk to the coaches or the teammates who've been around him every day, this stuff is baffling to me. It doesn't make any sense. It's puzzling to the people who've been in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. Nothing that I have seen or heard or watched or thought tells you that he should be lower than 2 and that he has a real, you know, this has been with Trevor Lawrence, but 1 and 2 dating back to high school. I mean, I don't get it. And I would be absolutely stunned if he somehow falls to number 3. But even if he does, then that's a huge maybe benefit for that organization and maybe for him if he doesn't have to play right away. So I don't know, Beau. It's been really weird to watch all this happen over the last couple of weeks.
When you look at this group of Buckeyes in general, when you think of first, second round, how many guys do you think will ultimately end up going in those first 2 rounds?
This is an interesting class for Ohio State because that number is probably not as high as it's been in other classes. There's more depth that you'll probably find in 3 through 7. So it's a little bit backwards because I still think that there'll be 12 or maybe 13 guys who get a shot. But I think that Justin Fields is obviously going to go in the first round. I think that another guy who's been a little bit overlooked in this process, and I don't truly understand why, is Wyatt Davis. This is another sort of generational, guard talent. I know that that's not the sexiest position on a lot of boards, but I mean, he should go in the first 2 rounds. I think Josh Myers should as well. And then, that may well be it based on what happened with Shaun Wade a year ago and questions about where he plays best at the next level. I think once you get past that, there's a case that Baron Browning could be a second-round pick, but, he probably won't be. Same is true for Pete Warner. I think what you'll see is around 3 through 5 would be a real run on Buckeyes. And, this is where it's borne out across the league. You can build a pretty good roster based on guys who come out of Columbus, and I think that's going to be on the minds of a lot of scouts and general managers once you get past the first 2 rounds.
You mentioned Shaun Wade, and he's a guy that it feels like had he come out, a year ago, was somebody that would be thought of as a first-round corner. What happened with him this year, and where do you think he best projects in the NFL? And the Browns I still think are a cornerback needy team, and it's worked pretty well bringing up Denzel Ward from Ohio State. This obviously would be different. He's not going 4th overall, but what can you tell us about Shaun Wade?
Yeah, I think that definitely when he was making that decision, last January after, that season, his stock was as high as it's been because he was playing a position where he was comfortable, where he got to show off his, versatility in that slot corner role because he can do things that a safety can do. He can play corner. He can play coverage roles, but he is not really, I don't think, snap in and snap out an outside cornerback. And, that's based only on last year, and there were some complicating factors. He was dealing with a nagging injury, a foot injury. His training was a little bit limited after he had opted out, came back in, and the indecision from September, it was all, out of sorts and no spring ball. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him because I think he's a really good slot cornerback. but he thought he could elevate his stock by playing on the outside. And I don't think that that's really where he's most comfortable. I mean, if somebody wanted to make him a safety, he could do that. If somebody is content to, Bradley Roby, as Beau knows a few years back, he's made a nice career out of just being a really good nickel and slot corner. Shaun Wade's going to be one of the best ones you can find for that, in my opinion. But that's what happened to his stock where that dipped, because I don't think, quite honest, you guys know you're not going to use a first-round pick on somebody that you just view playing in the slot. So I think he'll be a good value later on, but it certainly didn't work out the way he intended.
Yeah, I agree with you on him. I could see the Browns having an interest. You're talking about third round, something like that, or any team would get a potential big value in Wade because he was dang good at that slot corner. I like what you say on him, maybe becoming a safety. I think that would be a good spot as the league just continues to play a lot of base defenses that have a lot of secondary guys in it. Let's go to some other guys from a late round, mid round that could be impact players, and two guys who have incredible traits. Barrett Browning's physical traits are obviously nothing short of elite. It took him a while to get on the field consistently, but you knew he would wow at Pro Day. If there would have been an NFL Combine, he would have been one of the guys you've been talking about coming out of it. And then the other is Pete Werner, who can flat-out fly at linebacker and is maybe a little bit underappreciated in Columbus for the career he had. And of course, these are both linebackers that do it very differently. But in terms of their transition to the pros, what do you see with those two guys?
Yeah, sometimes I feel bad for Baron Browning. I mean, not physically, because the guy is chiseled out of granite and can play almost any position on the field, but his versatility at times almost gets him in trouble, because it's like, well, you have a hole or a need, we'll put Baron Browning there. And he did that coming out of high school or Ohio State. Like, he can play outside, he can play inside. Let's, maybe try and use him as a pass rusher. That's he's never really got to truly ever learn a position and make it his own. And I think that will, that's also going to make him marketable for the draft. But, it makes it, somebody's going to have to find an idea for him and then stick with it. I think that would really help him. So you kind of know the programs, the franchises that had success with that sort of flair and carving out a role. If you're Cleveland, I think you would hate to see Pittsburgh or Baltimore wind up with Baron Browning's athleticism on defense. I mean, he can certainly wreck games for you. And Pete Werner, you're absolutely right about sort of being undervalued for what he did. I think there was an opinion that was formed about him when he was a sophomore and a first-time starter, and there were issues with the position coach and the scheme that they were running with Greg Schiano. But even still, by the end of that year, he was making big-time plays in coverage, running with guys, making plays against tight ends. He can go after the passer. He can hit in the box. He can really do anything that you could ask for at any linebacker position. And the last 2 years, he was as productive as anybody in the country, really. It wasn't just here, I think, that he was undervalued. Nationally, he didn't get the attention that he deserved. He's one of the best linebackers that you're going to find. I think that he's a great guy. He's a great worker. He's got positional versatility. I would want to put in a card for Pete Werner if I had that opportunity. Both of those guys just bring you more athleticism than you could ever ask for.
Austin, you think about what Jordan Fuller did last year with the Rams.
Right.
Who in this class for Ohio State has the chance to be that guy that is drafted, too low for his talent and makes an immediate impact?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that I don't know how high Tommy Togiai is going to get drafted. He came out early, and generally you think that means he's going to be a first or second round pick. I don't know at defensive tackle if that will be the case for him, but and if it is, then all of what I'm saying is null and void. But the point is that once you get a guy with his strength, with his intelligence for the position, some lateral ability that he really wanted to prove that on Tuesday. I talked to him last weekend about what he wanted to show outside of that bench press, which he did 40 reps at 225, which is crazy to think about for me and most humans. But he can really impact the game from the interior, and I think you saw that in the national title game when he was removed from the lineup, how much that hurt Ohio State. I'm not saying that he could have won the game if he was there by himself, but he is an incredible athletic specimen, and I think someone who's going to be in the league a long time. Now, that's obviously very different than what we're talking about with Jordan Fuller, and it was his intelligence, I think, that helped him make that translation to the next level more than anything. But physically, Tommy Togiai is about as ready for the NFL as any guy you're going to see.
Austin, you're the best, buddy. Appreciate your time. Thanks for giving us a little bit of it today.
Hey, just bummed that I couldn't see you guys at the Combine this year, but next year we'll make up for it.
Yes.
Absolutely, my man. Next year we will. The great Austin Moore to Letterman Row joining us here on the hotline. The one thing that jumps out to you, Z, just from a someone who follows these two teams very, very closely, and the one thing that isn't there from Ohio State, and you're not entitled to this, but there isn't the elite corner grouping that has been coming out of Ohio State for the last decade, and there isn't that defensive end.
Right.
Like, you're not entitled to go Bosa Young.
Yeah, right.
You're not entitled to that. That's what they've done. And you start to think about, if you go back to the Bama game, you think about some of the things, they didn't have defensively. They did not have the elite trait guys that they've had during most of the time Urban and then Ryan Day had been there. They did not have NFL guys defensively from an elite standpoint. Those type of corners, Jeff Okudah, Chase Young, Joey Bosa, Denzel Ward, Marshawn the list goes on and on and on. Malik Hooker, all of those guys that they had that were first-round lock stocks, this class doesn't have those guys on the defensive side of the ball. And it's something that, honestly, if you look ahead even to next year, and they have some really talented guys. A guy like Josh Proctor you'll pay attention to next year, and you'll say, boy, he's got all of it. They don't have that. Now, they can maybe develop that. There's some young five-star kids down there at defensive end too. But in terms of, that's how blessed they were to be able to deliver multiple first-rounders at corner and defensive end basically every year, it seemed like, for a decade. They did that, and they don't have that in this class. But I do think there's some value picks. I don't know how many of them are fit for us. I think Wade's probably the one that probably makes the most sense from the standpoint of his versatility of what he could do. He's a bigger kid. So you would never take him in the first round, second round, but if somehow he fell to the fourth, that would be somebody you'd take a flyer on.
Well, yeah, and look, Troy Hill's 30. He's right now your slot, and it seems that he's, at least from what we just heard there, he's better suited to be inside. I don't know that he's quick, twitchy, with some of the slot corners or from the slot receivers that you're seeing in the NFL, but obviously a guy with some good skills and who, Eddie, come out 2 years ago, he probably was going to be a first-round pick, right? So certainly first or second, and yeah, that's the kind of guy that you take a chance on. He was a 5-star. Wasn't he a top 25 recruit in the country? I mean, this is
he was in that same
pedigree.
class with Browning. He was in that same class as Browning, and Browning was like a top 10 player in the country. He was a 5-star kid, top 10 player in the country out of Texas. And Wade was in that grouping. Okudah was the other one. He was a 5-star top 15 player in the country. And they were in that same class together. But Wade was one of those guys. So yeah, those guys are all coming together. So, but it's not what it's been, and that's in terms of, and you're not entitled to that. You're not entitled to have a generational pass rusher every year,
right,
like they did with the Boses and Chase Young, or to have, we picked Denzel fourth. What did Jeff Okudah go, third last year?
Yeah.
At corner.
Yeah.
I mean,
top 5.
You're not entitled to that.
Right. No, that's hard to do.
You're not entitled to that. So
yeah,
very much is. You will hear Z's one-on-one with our defensive line coach Chris Kiffin coming up shortly. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Podcast available, presented by Key Private Bank. Out now wherever you get your podcasts. Or we're going to youtube.com/Browns. Now I like that it's even in the copy. Clooney joins the Ibs boys as they break down Mock Draft 2.0. Lance Zerline also joins the program as the Browns options at pick number 26. How many of these have you done now?
It's at least 4 weeks in a row.
Five? And 4 weeks in a row. What is going on?
I tried to give him a breather, and I got overruled this week. I was like, hey, the guy's been working hard.
Give the people what they want.
He deserves a little bit of a breather.
This is a lesson for you as a showrunner.
Your boss. My boss.
Yeah. Gribble. This is your this is a lesson for you as a showrunner, though, Gibby. Because when you're running your show, you want to make sure that it stands on its own two legs, independent of the Clooney guest starring. So you want to give them little dabbles of Clooney, but you don't want it to become Clooney and Friends. It's Friends, and then Clooney comes in, but it still remains Friends.
Right.
So if you keep running him out there too much, this show becomes Clooney and Friends.
This is what I've been trying to do.
You got to be careful.
I got to.
Oh, you want Clooney and Friends?
You can catch him every day on our radio show. Some people in the building know when it is. Most people don't. But that's neither here nor there. Coming out swinging on a Friday.
But you got to be careful. You don't want Clooney and Friends. It's Friends and guest starring George Clooney for a couple. You bring him in November to date Phoebe. Then all of a sudden there's some confusion in May, and he's seen at a bar with Rachel. Like, that's what you'd want to do with Clooney. You don't want him showing up every week, and then all of a sudden it's like when Tom Selleck showed up.
You're watering it down.
You want to have the pop.
Yes.
Right, you want to have the pop.
You got to have the pop.
Proud.
I am in total agreement.
Easy.
That, and I'm trying to manage your workload and give you a little bit of a breather.
I think he's fine.
It's the off season. No,
I don't mind working.
But it's the off season. Like, there's a lot. You're a very popular man, and you're very good at what you do across all platforms here.
Well, that's nice. We're all aware of these things, and this is I'm just saying for the viability of the BPA long term, it has to stand on its own two legs.
I would
without
agree.
the Clooney.
We try.
Otherwise, it's Clooney and Friends.
We're a developmental program.
I had such a great line right there.
No,
I just decided for the betterment of all of us to not say it, but I was really proud of it. Really excited about it.
You were ready? You had something at the ready?
Boy,
Maybe in the break we'll get to it. Yeah. Get a treat of it. So next week is Masters Week. Should we do a Masters contest here on the program?
I was going to save this for next week, but I felt like today was the day where it was kind of a free-for-all day anyways that we should discuss.
Yeah, there's literally no sports news. There is the Final Four this weekend. 8:34 tip on Saturday night.
For Game 1?
No, thank God. Game 2. At least that.
Oh.
What do you get? Do I need to see something on Twitter?
Please look at your phone. Oh, boy.
Look at my phone?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm excited for the Masters, though. It's nice to get that Masters. We got it in the fall. It's like a short wait for the Masters this year, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be great.
You might be on assignment next weekend, though. How are you going to watch it?
Oh, that's fine. I mean, I'm going to be in paradise. I'm going to be in the Keys. I'll be fine.
He's vaccinated. Time to live.
That's right, baby.
Oh, good for you.
Thank you.
When are you going?
A week from Saturday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good of you.
Masters
So you'll be down. You'll be watching.
Day.
You'll be having it in the background.
That's right. Perfect. The background. We'll have some cocktails, Gibbe style. We'll be living. Drinking from the fire hose of life, baby.
Drinking out of something fire hose.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do. Should we draft? Do we want to draft, or do we? I think that's the only way that's interesting is to draft them, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
And what do you want to do the stakes? I think you got to give us odds because you pay you're in like 16 golf pools. You got to give me some odds here. I don't.
No, my team's this year. My team's terrible. I finished last year top 10 out of 1,000 people. It's a wonderful year for me. Now this year, bottom 10 out of 1,000. But the key is to hit once. It's like the lottery, right? You just got to hit it once. You don't have to you don't win every time.
Yeah.
My team's terrible.
Do we do
awful?
Do we ever do you do something where if you get the winner, you get a bonus for getting the winner, or do you just go stroke play?
So I think we should each take a foursome. We'll each pick a foursome. and we'll do our foursomes total strokes against each other. And if there's ever a day where they play in the same group, anybody on my team plays in the same group as your team, that's a head-to-head that's added in. And then if you have the ultimate winner, yes, you get a bonus.
A point system then? Or strokes? How are we going to do it?
I think we should break it up
total
into
strokes.
Who wins. The ultimate thing, right, is who wins, whose four golfers has the lowest total number of strokes. Now, we can do that where you do it on each day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And if somebody gets eliminated, if somebody on your team doesn't make the cut, you can't win on Saturday or Sunday, obviously. You're out.
Right.
And you're out for the total. Or we could just do it from the finish.
I don't like that.
If you do it from the finish, where they finish in the tournament.
That's probably the better way to do it, because then you don't have to worry about the winner. Then you have to worry about winner bonus, that's known.
Right. So we could do who has the highest individual, whose team has the lowest total finish, like if you added up all their finishes.
Yep.
And then I think we should do a thing where if our guys are ever in the same group together, there's a little side, right, head to head.
So
3 separate.
I was going to say,
kind of wagers.
This is getting complicated. I like it.
You would.
Yeah.
A couple of state schoolies here, and you're just running mental circles around us. I have no idea what you're even talking about with all these different bets. I think you want to do one main contest.
Sure.
And that is the finish. I think the finish is the way to do that. That's the right way to do that.
Team finish or individual finish?
Team finish.
Okay.
So is that
lowest
strokes total?
No. It's place. Because otherwise you have to worry about the cut.
Right.
It's got to be placing. If it's strokes, then the cut guys.
So and if
you can't have
tie,
that. You could have a guy shoot 84.
If you had a first and a fourth, and the other person had second and third, those would tie. But the tiebreaker would be whoever has the best individual finish.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
All right, and then we have the head-to-head side, and then anybody who gets the winner gets a double bonus.
Well, that's where it gets confusing, though, because how are we going to decide, how many wagers are we doing here?
So we've got our team one is
one. Are we going to put, some financial money into a pot, and then there's 3 different pots that we're putting into?
Yeah, we're not allowed to do this for money. We're doing it for seafood.
You guys can't do this. I can do all of this.
Yeah, transformative turkey.
Anything I want. I'm out there living.
We just said yesterday we're going to play golf. Whoever we could do, whoever comes in last hosts the golf. Whoever comes in second supplies food or beverage, and whoever wins just has a day.
The time of their life.
That's right.
Are there more of us involved? Do we invite others in the building?
Who else
to
do
play?
we want in that foursome? What do you think? Here's one for you. What do you think if we raffled off the 4th spot in our foursome for charity? What would be the number? This is a totally different conversation. What would you think we could get done on that front? Probably could do pretty. Do you think people would want to play golf with us?
What's the course?
It's going to be a nice course.
No. I mean, it's got to be.
We'll sort it out.
It's got to.
Don't worry about that. The course will be fine.
The course is going to be nice.
I like to play golf with you guys, but I need a nice track.
Well, you're not. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you're carte blanche. You're on scholarship, Gibby.
I'm just saying.
You're not going to have anything to worry about on that
the role of the
you just show up, be charming, have some sort of a keg on your cart. I mean, that's your responsibility.
Right. It's actually in my driver.
See?
I don't even know what that means.
Just saying.
That's it.
That's beyond my comprehension.
That's it. That's what you do on that front, I think. All right. Well, let's put some thought to that. That would be fun to do something like that. It would force me to actually hang guys outside of work, which will be kind of touch and go for me, but I think I can probably make it work.
We can watch the Gurd tee it up from the fairway.
Well, I've got to now. I've got to.
Shoulder. What are you going to do? Can't get
Don't judge me.
Can't get down low enough.
Don't judge me. Listen, it's not like this is a sanctioned golf event. You know what I mean? This is just friends.
No, it's not sanctioned. It's pure joy. It's not the Ryder Cup.
I want I win this, though, I want Bootsy to caddy for me.
Well, he'd want to come. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
He'd have to be on Team Z. He'd have to be on Team Z. We'd spell his name.
I think you'd like the experience.
Z for that day. Bootsy.
Bootsy?
Yeah, Bootsy.
He would like
it. We could do, all 3 of us, get a cart, and we take a Bishop boy and decorate the cart and just have ourselves an afternoon.
One for each. it's turning into quite the extravaganza. Yeah, I think you're going to be fine with that. I think that could work. We may have something there. All right, I know we have something here. Zigo's one-on-one with our defensive line coach, Chris Kiffin. It's coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. If your game plan for the season includes buying or selling a home, Howard Hanna Real Estate Services has you covered. Visit howardhanna.com/go Browns today. And now here's Z one-on-one with our defensive line coach, Chris Kiffin.
Tack coming in.
You guys are down. It's 15 minutes long.
When you watch him, you see why he was first-round pick. You see the explosiveness, his ability to all of that. All I had known about him was kind of just what you read and how things didn't go well in Atlanta, et cetera. I was really impressed by him. I just felt like he was hungry, like just a genuine passion for getting this right, which when you take a guy that talented and he's got that hunger, that could lead to some pretty good things.
Absolutely. And yeah, just like you said, I got the same feeling. Started with, got him on the first phone call right after he signed, at 4 o'clock or whatever that was. And, I was blown away on the phone by him saying the right things. I'm like, okay, he just signed. Obviously, he's a little bit happy and excited about the opportunity. And then when he came in person, got a chance to sit down and dressed to impress, wearing the suit. And it was like, all right, what's Tack getting at here? And he's just hungry. And like he said, things that we all learn as part of maturity and part of growing up and going through ups and downs of it. And especially him, there's so many instances of that first round pick, a lot of pressure to perform. And then all of a sudden, after a couple of years, you're on a new team. And now it's like, okay, well, how do I get right? Because as he said, this league's not promised to anybody. And he seems super hungry, super motivated. And, but like you said, on tape, it's there. And you just got to put all the pieces together. And I'm excited to help him along with that process.
When you have two guys who can get around the edge like that, what does that do for your D-line? Because OV's great, and OV played great for you last year, but different style in terms of how he gets after the quarterback, whereas Tack and Miles can both kind of just fly around that edge.
Correct. Yeah, it's all speed. Starts with speed and quickness off the ball. And, that's one of the first things you notice with him. You already said it, the explosiveness. They're in their stock car stances, 4-point stance, him and Miles. And, if we just give them the green light to go just right off the bat, that's going to cause us problems. And then, to build the pieces around it and get all 4 guys rushing as one, like we want to accomplish, then it should be a lot of fun.
And what's, you have those guys now, you're looking at them on the edge. You got Sheldon, who is he's just always there, always productive. How important is it to kind of have, when you have young, talented guys, and we'll talk about Miles in a second, who is, transformative as a talent, but to have a guy like Sheldon who can be that glue and can be that reliable and that productive game in, game out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, you get kind of lost in the season, the long season, especially 2020 COVID and week to week, you give them grades on Monday and you move on to the next opponent. And then going back when we got a chance to sit down over this last month and watch the defensive cut-ups, that's when my appreciation for Sheldon really, even grew even better. Just how much, first of all, his availability, right? So he didn't miss a game. He battles through injuries. He pushes. He gets himself beat up. You got to rest him a little bit during the week. He's an older body, and but he's a competitor who's going to go to war every Sunday. And he's got a veteran mindset of understanding blocking schemes, understanding what's going on in the game, understanding, hey, we got to go hard the first quarter, but let's not, empty the tank in the first quarter, because he knows the third quarter, fourth quarter, that's when the games are going to be won. So it's just a lot of fun, to go through that year with him and pick his brain on things, and ultimately know that you got a guy in your corner who's going to battle every single Sunday.
And, next to him, Myles Garrett. And, when you came from the Niners, tons of talent. I think you guys had 5 first-round picks on that defensive line in 2019. And guys, Bosa, tremendous, DeForest Buckner, all guys who have been very productive in this league as well. Then you come here, you get a chance to be around Miles. And I know he battled the COVID, and that obviously had some impact. But you saw for a stretch when he was pure Myles Garrett. What did you think? What was that experience like coaching him, and how good can he be?
Yeah, you mentioned San Francisco. I was there and figured out it was going to come with Joe Woods to Cleveland, and Chris Kasurek, the D-line coach there. He said, you get to coach one of the best athletes in the world. And, at the time it just hit me like, like you said, we had a bunch of really good D linemen, and coming into Miles, he's one of the best athletes in the world. And when you get to help mold that guy into the football player that he, can become, which he's still working on, that's the exciting part. And then first time out of practice, going through drills with him, you see it and you're like, holy Toledo, like, where is all this stuff in your body? And, So that part's, I mean, it's just amazing. But, you know, just being able to coach him and you understand, you know, that he's still progressing. And when you watch film with them and just able to help him any way you possibly can get better and see that growth continue to show. That's the exciting part. But, you know, the sky's the limit. We just got to keep getting better one day at a time with them.
It was funny. One of the things that Tag said to me that made me the chuckle is like, I'm going to ask Miles, how does he get to the quarterback? Because he's like, he might be able to teach me a couple things about that as well. And that's got to be exciting for you to have two young guys, kind of like you had in San Francisco, where you had young guys still, you know, on rookie deals or just right after, and to have the young guys out wide like that to kind of grow together. And with just physically, that's his talent. I mean, that's a pretty talented physical duo that you'll have now.
Yeah. And, you know, you think of Miles as being so young. And then, you know, when Tack said that same thing to me about learning from Miles, I'm just like, man, these guys are like, they're all still babies in this league. And like, really, that's, you know, we had OV and AC and Sheldon all in 8th, 9th, 10th year. And there's obviously a lot of positives to that. And then you get these guys that are still young and just, you know, don't even have to stretch, just go out there and start up the engine and go. That's exciting too, you know, just to continue, because you know that they're going to continue to get better. So,
and I know you like that versatility, and you're getting a body type that maybe you didn't have last year in Andrew Billings, who opted out. Just a massive man and one of the strongest people in the history of the state of Texas, which I think covers a lot of ground. You know, what's it going to be like to be able to have that guy in the middle, and how does that change what you're able to do with your fronts and defensively at the point of attack?
Yeah, you know, we're super excited to get Andrew in here. Obviously, we were ready to count on him last year, and but we didn't have him. And you know, he's got big shoes to fill with Larry leaving. You know, we expect him to step in and be that run stopping force, you know, that Larry really was, playing the nose tackle position next to Sheldon. And so, you know, talk to Andrew on the phone, and he knows the opportunity that's in front of him. He's excited about it. He knows he's got to get to work. You know, because it's been a while since he's played. He sat a whole year out, but if we can get him rolling and being able to stuff the run inside and push the pocket and the things that we expect from him, you know, when we initially evaluated him, that'll be a big addition, no doubt about it.
How about Malik Jackson, who's a guy that obviously at one point was maybe one of the more productive interior pass rushers in the NFL, signed that massive deal after playing with Coach Woods in Denver and having all that success there. You know, you bring him in as another kind of sub-package pass rusher, a guy who really can do it all along the defensive line. How exciting was it to bring him and add just a nut? It seems like, I know there was some subtraction, a lot of addition in your room as well.
Yeah. And, you know, Malik, the first thing I think about is, you know, when I studied him when he was at Jacksonville, because you as a D-line coach, you look, okay, what do you want the whole D-line to look like? What do you want your pass rush to look like? And there was a time when Jacksonville went to the AFC Championship, you know, with Yannick, Malik, Calais Campbell, and Dante Fowler, and that front four and how they rush together, you know. And so I've always had a fondness of Malik in that area of his game. And, you know, and now you put Tack, Miles, him and Sheldon as a rush group. It's like, okay, now you're getting to what you want. And Malik, you know, to be 285, but to be able to play inside and not worry about, you know, losing anything against the run, because he's so strong, can handle himself in there, but what he can do affecting the quarterback as he's, you know, proven throughout his career, hitting the quarterback, pressure and flushing, chasing, just the way he plays, you know, it's awesome to watch on tape, and to add him to the rooms is pretty special.
You know, you went through, I know you guys did your big scheme evaluation at the end of the season, and you saw what you did. And as you mentioned, like right out of the gate, you know, 2 of the 4 that were your predominant 4 are different. You know, instead of OV and Larry, it's going to be Tack and Billings or Malik. How does that impact, you know, the constant change of it, and knowing, you know, every person's different, their strengths and weaknesses are different, you know, and move forward to, all right, this is what I'm excited to do in 2021.
Yeah, as a position coach, for sure. You also just, you know, in this league, like the teams change from year to year, and you know that's what makes the run last year so special when you're going through it, and you talk about it with the guys, and you know they embrace that, you know, through the end of the season and through the playoffs, and then now the excitement of this time of year starting over and putting the pieces together, and now you know in off season when it's virtual or whatnot, and you get in there and you're starting to watch tape. Like, it's not just a refresher. Like, you got to start from ground zero. You got different pieces, different elements. Guys got to learn who they're playing with. So there's a lot of things that go into it that's obviously exciting, that's going to build up over the next 3-4 months until we really get rolling.
You know, I remember
in the middle of the season, maybe it was early in the season, we talked about somebody you thought made really great strides, and it was Jordan Elliott, is who you said. As the season went on, snaps are tough to come by when you're a rookie, especially when there's a talent that was in that line and et cetera. What did you think of his rookie season? And he's somebody that, in year two, you think can really start to show those flashes of the pass rusher he was at Missouri?
Absolutely. I was really excited about Jordan's progression through the year. As you said, there was just a little excitement, or not excitement, but a comfort level of relying on Sheldon, where the bullets were flying, as opposed to a rookie. But Jordan proved to us, that he's going to work. He's going to be tough. He's going to be consistent, reliable. And the jump that he's going to make from year one to year two, I have no doubt that's going to happen. He's hungry. He says all the right things. I know he's working. He's proven that to us. So, we just kind of always knew that Jordan was going to be in this room, heading into this offseason, obviously coming into year two, but we added the other pieces. But Jordan, there's no doubt. I told him, you come in and compete, man. And, your snaps will go up tremendously. You come in, compete, show the growth from year one to year two. And we're excited about him. He's a big athlete that can affect the game in a bunch of ways. He just has to continue to get those reps and experience.
Let's talk about some of the young guys on the outside. Porter Augustin comes up with the interception in the playoff game, which was a great moment for him. And, he's a guy that you guys wanted to bring back. How did he kind of progress over the season? And what do you think Porter can become in this league?
Yeah, Porter's just that, I always screw up that line. What is it? Bring your lunch pail to work guy, right? So that's who he is. He's always going to be that guy, but he's going to incrementally get better. Because he works at it. It's important to him. I've said it before. He's going to be up here all day on his off day, finding every possible edge he gets because he knows how this league is. If you're not making it, somebody's going to beat you out, and he's going to hold the pen of his future. He's going to write his own deal just because his work ethic, is always going to do that. But he's a guy that had meaningful snaps for us last year. All of a sudden, a chance to go to the AFC Championship. He's in there competing his tail off, because we're injured, and you have no hesitation putting him in. Miles is banged up, AC's banged up, OV's not there, and Porter's making big time plays, like you said, the interception. But it's more than that. He's just a consistent guy that's going to give you everything he's got. And
then I want to ask you about the guy that, is coming. He's almost taking on mythic proportions in terms of the hype, even though we haven't seen him yet. Curtis Weaver, just because so productive in college. It felt like Miami transactionally messed that up, and they regretted it, and we got him here. And, so dominant, as I said, at Boise State. I've heard his body is in great shape, and he's ready to go. He sounds like a guy who could be an exciting, maybe sub-package pass rusher for you.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's excitement, because with him, and somebody obviously said it to you, his body, when you get a guy here and you get his nutrition, you get him in the weight room, a guy who obviously Boise's a good program, but it's just different, when it becomes their full-time job, and now in their brain, they're like, holy cow, this is what it's going to be. He bought in, and we all saw the change, and word spread around the building, like, man, this guy, he might be something. And so he's been fun. We had him in the meeting rooms all year long, and his good personality, obviously 36 37 sacks in college, he has a knack for that. So anxious as can be to get him out there, see what he can do, see if it's too big for him when he starts rushing some of these NFL tackles, and then go mold him and say, okay, well, here's how you can get better, here's where you need to be more consistent. So yeah, excitement with Weave for sure.
Is this, you think about the off season, and last year so strange. This year, no combine, right? And that's where we talked at the beginning about all the coaches, everybody knows. That's where you guys all get together and hang out. And it really is kind of that, it's such a great thing to see, even as somebody on the outside. I see everybody that I know in the NFL, and being with the Browns for 9 years, I touch a lot of coaches as well in my time here. But, you don't have that. And so you guys are kind of, I feel like, almost even more locked in the excitement of what's coming. But September feels so far away, and you still have the draft coming up. You still have an opportunity, and I think maybe even to add some more explosiveness into your room. So what's kind of this offseason without all of those kind of normal touch points? What's that been like for you, and just kind of how different has it been?
Yeah, it's definitely different, especially with the unknown of what the offseason looks like, and still haven't heard if the players will be in or whatnot. But it's been good because, since the day it ended, we had a paper schedule, printed off, and here's what every day is going to look like, starting with, self-scout, getting together, how are we going to get better, looking at ourselves, then free agency, and then now into the draft. And, I myself, I have a red pen and mark off those days one at a time. So yeah, it is a long ways away. But then I look down at that calendar today, and all of a sudden 3 weeks are marked off already, and so it's just a process.
Coming back in about 15.
We're going to add great talent, and to be able to see what AB and his guys have done so far in building the 2021 team. The excitement's high, and it's just one day at a time. But as you know, that opening day.
You're up.
All right, good stuff with Chris and Z. There's still so much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Could see a team getting a little closer to history here. Oh, Z, do you have something? Go ahead.
I do, real quickly. The mother of the on-air light, Jade McRae, tweets out, and she was having a back and forth tweet with the on-air light at AirCBD, which I think everybody should follow. It's the official light. It's got over 100 followers. Congratulations to the on-air light. But she said, "Hey, at AirCBD, i.e. the Browns the on-air light, just discovered another layer to your brilliance. When catching up on the Browns Daily live stream, I can now scroll through the ads and watch Nathan Zegura light you up and know when to restart the show." Really satisfying stuff. So this light has layers of benefits, not just for my own, but for all of everybody else out there.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, Clark.
Boy, does it.
All year long. That's incredible.
Incredible.
That's a good job. Imagine being you understand what's at stake for Gonzaga this weekend? So they're undefeated.
I do.
Another undefeated team to the Final Four. If they win, they will be the first, and they got to win Monday too. They'll beat UCLA. I think they'll beat the brakes off of UCLA. I think Baylor will be interesting. if that's the way that it goes, and I think it will. If they pull it off, then you're the first undefeated since Indiana. And while you can't compare generations because the game's so different, against their peers, they
1 minute.
certainly if they're able to pull that off. If they lose, then they're going to be UNLV 91, or they will be Kentucky from 2015 that was undefeated to the Final Four. So you'll have that to look for. That's your sports highlight of the weekend. I've enjoyed the March. I love watching that team play. I wish it wasn't at 8:34 at night, but that's at least tolerable on the weekends versus 9:57.
Same. I'm excited for that one. They play a beautiful brand of basketball.
Yeah, they do. So you have that to look forward to, which is nice. We are back next week for more fun, which is very nice. Yeah. The next level is next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great weekend. Have a happy Easter to all who partake.